everybody, and welcome to TOFFEE BLUECAST. It is pre-match night, and I've done it for you. I have got a fan clash on the scene. We've had him on before, and he's good. He is good, and we've got him on again. I'm glad to say. Paul is not with us tonight. He's on the beach with his towels and his cocktails, living the dream. But we have got a guest, and this is a good guest. I love a fan clash. I do. Proper gets you up for the game the day before. Give me some music.
Yeah, hello. Thank you very much for having me. This is good. Love it.
Well, I gave you the big entrance, mate, because you've got some good players. You've signed some good players, and Tottenham are a good team. So I've gave you the hype there. I've gave you a big entrance, but I am gonna fight you. I'm gonna stand my ground, and we're gonna talk about things. And you're gonna talk about Tottenham. I'm gonna talk about Everton, and then we're gonna try and get the comments on the screen as well. So get involved. You know, they're coming in already. We do like to have a little comment, have a little read, and tell you what we think. Right, Harry. Last time I spoke to you. What's new? What's new with Tottenham?
Oh God, where do I start? Same probably issues when I was speaking to you. No, I think we went into that game quite positive, but I think we last spoke. We had a really bad run at the end of last season, and we're just seeing similar problems already against Leicester, where we don't get the second goal, we then concede, but we don't react well to conceding. We don't like that first half against Leicester. We should have. Yeah, some fans would go really far and go 4-5-0 up. I'd probably go. We could have been 2-3, maybe 4-0 up, but. It's it doesn't happen that way. We're only 1-0 up. We concede 1-1. How do you react to that? And we were just not seeing that. We got injuries like we did last season. So yeah, lots of things not good. I mean, Vardy was given so much space. So not that much positive. I think that we're still in for a good season, but the start is used to what we've been seeing. That's probably all I can say since we last spoke. It hasn't been that positive, especially the run we had last season.
With the transfer window so far, I mean, it's still going. We're all still talking about what do we need in? Are we happy with what we got in? Are you happy with it? I know you signed Solanke, that someone's just said. I mean, you've sent me your lineup. We're going to look at your lineup in a minute, but I presume that was it because Solanke was out that you haven't got him in as your striker?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, unexpected. Well, I say unexpectedly, he wasn't featured in many, if any, training pictures. Some people picked that up, and Ange confirmed today that he's out with a minor knock, so that's why he doesn't feature in my team. Yeah,
that's a big loss, isn't it? Normally a player that we struggle with. Are you a fan of Solanke? You like him?
Yeah, I think so. I think it is that kind of marquee signing, if you like, for us. It's that long, Kane replacement we've been looking for. I don't think you're going to ever get someone like Harry Kane, but we've gone out there. We spent the money. A lot of people go, "Oh, it's Bournemouth," but that's not what you've got to look at. You've got to look at a player that really, for me, fits well. It suits the Ange system coming in. So for me, it makes a lot of sense. And I changed that. We talk about Leicester. I think he's very new to the system. It's going to take a lot of time. But our big problem was last season, and I will probably keep saying it throughout tonight, is that we can't kill a game off. When the game should be done, we don't put it out of reach, and we allow other teams to get back into it. Sometimes take a couple of points off us and get a point themselves, and sometimes even worse than that. Like against Wolves away, we only took added time of that game winning, and we somehow lost that game at Molineux. That was pretty much summed up, kind of what I'm talking about here. So I think Solanke will be a big player. He will give it, race Haaland. I think you got a high standard that Haaland set, but I think that Solanke will be scoring goals for fun.
Yeah, I think it's a really good. So you needed a big centre forward. I mean, when you've got a player like Maddison, for me, with the delivery that he's got, I think it's criminal not to have a big striker that can head the ball in the back of the net that's strong.
Absolutely.
I think Solanke with Maddison will be a good combination. Before we get into the proper head-to-head, you was nominated for a Football Content Award recently, I've been told. So I've got that on the list to give you a shout-out for. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, so thank you very much. Yeah, I put myself forward to try and be a finalist for the Football Content Awards 2024. So hopefully I'll make it as a finalist, which will be back-to-back years. Last year was the first time that I entered myself at 14 and unexpectedly become a finalist. Didn't win anything, but met so many fantastic people and was, an excellent night. So to be there, this year will be fantastic, and go one step further and maybe take a trophy home would be absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I'm not quite sure when we find out who's made it, but fingers crossed. If we don't, then that's something to aim for, the ambition for next year. But yeah, that's certainly aim to try and win something this year, but to start with, try and be a finalist. But no, thank you very much.
We only have the good ones on the Toffee BLUECAST. We get the good guests, and we have Harry on. If he was crap, I wouldn't have had him back on.
I'm not quite Begovic though, I've got to say. That's another level.
Well, you're not as good. You're not as good as Begovic. Begovic made me get the butterflies a little bit before I had him on. I have got a little bit of butterflies for you, but not the Begovic butterflies. I'll tell you that. But yeah, Begovic is, by the way, Everton fans. Begovic, we had Begovic on the show. We got talking to him about Everton when he wasn't playing for Everton. All of a sudden, Begovic signs for Everton. He's just signed for Everton again. So he's back at Everton. Thanks to me and Paul, having a word with him, saying to him, get back to Everton. You're a good goalkeeper. We need you. We need you in the dressing room. And Begovic is back to Everton. Wow. And Begovic's talk when that Crystal Palace game, when he said, if they can score 2, we can score 2, and we win 3-2 and we stay up. I don't think Begovic around is a bad thing, people. I think Begovic is a cracking addition to have around our goalkeepers. So I'm happy with that. So Begovic is good. We have just had a press conference from Dyche saying that it doesn't look like we're going to bring in any more players. There is talk that Trippier, we might be able to get a loan. Probably loan him, whether we will get him. I don't know. Dyche has told us no one's coming in, so I guess anyone is a bonus. One thing I will say here, Harry, you're playing us at a good time, mate. You're playing us at a good time because we are struggling in the right back situation. Coleman injured in the pre-season.
Patterson's out, isn't he?
Patterson's he's out longer before Coleman, and then we put Ashley Young in there, and he decides to pick up his legendary 2 yellow cards. So Holgate is in the picture for right back, but I am doing everything I can to keep Holgate out the picture for right back with the dangerous players that you've got. I don't want him in. Keep your comments coming, people. What we're going to do, we're going to run through this quick. We're going to get Harry's lineup now. I'm going to give you my lineup. I want you in the comments to give your lineup. If you're a Spurs fan, give your lineup with Harry what you want. When you're the Everton fans that have got loads on, give me your lineup as well. And then we'll finish with score predictions. We know how it works. Right, so let's get into it then. What have you got? What are you bringing to me? What are you going to try and smash me up with? I'm quite scared of Spurs a little bit, to be fair.
Yeah, well, in terms
a little bit of a grump sometimes.
Love it. Players that can, I suppose, cause Everton a problem. You could bring it. Here you go, bringing up my team there. Oh no, that's my team. Is that the lineup from the last game?
That is your team, but
is that my team?
Let me just say this: that's your team, but you haven't got Son in your team. But the player that you gave me, I've written his name under, but I couldn't get a picture of him, so I had to put Son.
That's why, because I saw Son in it. Well, actually, my team looked only slightly different from that. So next to Basuma would be Archie Gray, and then Kulusevski would actually play that false 9 position. I was thinking, and having Kulusevski. Putting Kulusevski into that midfield, I think. No, actually, I tell you what, I'll put Kulusevski as the false 9. Richarlison will be on the left. Odegaard will be on the right. It'd be Maddison, Basuma, and Gray in midfield. That's what it looked like. So Richarlison, actually, interestingly, because I know he used to play for Everton, I would have him on that left-hand side, considering your weakness in that right-back position. My thinking was behind it. Richarlison, how can we work his confidence up? How can he get the most success in this game with Solanke not being here? And what I worked out is that you are very, very, very lacking numbers in that position. So it just, for me, makes sense, to put Richarlison on that left-hand side. Kulusevski got 2 goals as a false 9 against Bayern Munich and generally impressed throughout pre-season. But Archie Gray, I think, will come in for I'm going to say injured Bentancur, but out because of concussion rules after what happened Monday against Leicester. Archie Gray would be the obvious replacement that Ange turned to in pre-season. So that be my team. I think generally it's not what you'll see from Spurs fans.
Where does Gray... I mean, the guy that's missing is Gray. Where does Gray play?
That's the thing. If you're looking for
this guy's great.
Yeah, he is. Yeah. Literally grey like the colour there. But, for Archie Gray at Leeds, he mainly played in that midfield, but we got told, he can be full-back cover, he can push further forward, so he can kind of play anywhere. Yeah, so if you put like Richarlison on the left, Kulusevski like up top, and then Alderweireld on the right-hand side in front of Porro. Who you answered? There's a comment below says Porro fit. He is fit.
You really did confuse me with this lineup, to be fair. Because
I know, yeah, I confused a lot of people.
On Flash, I'm thinking, where do they play? I mean, that is not Son, by the way. That's Alberto. I mean, I had to look him up. Do you like him?
I do like him. But the confusing thing I've done is I've played front three. I've gone with. I'm playing them all in a position that isn't, I suppose, their natural position. I'm just thinking about Everton's weaknesses and look at it from that point of view. But Alderweireld, I think, is a good piece of business. Really under the radar, for Fabrizio Romano and in the nose, if you like. Really didn't pick this one up. It's nice to see you wake up and you feel, we kind of signed a player. I missed that kind of feel, if you like. I haven't been around that much without Fabrizio. I know he's good at what he does, but you like that feel of the transfer. But Alderweireld, I thought, done well at Burnley. It's another option to have off the bench. I think generally it's been a really positive transfer window, and Alderweireld is one of those that represents that. Another option that we brought in. I think you have to be quite a negative fan to find negatives about this window when you've gone there, got the striker, and we've really improved our bench. Of course, in an ideal world, I want a number 6. Potentially left back cover, because I don't think Davies can play that position in an Ange team, because the fullback's kind of invert. It doesn't suit him as a natural left back. But generally, it's been a really, really positive window. And thinking an 8, 9 out of 10. And Alderweireld is it looks good. It looks good. And a lot of fans talk about that long-term replacement for Son, but they moan about Alderweireld. I think Alderweireld could be that player. So I don't think he'll start or get very many minutes at all in this game, considering he's had no training. But I'd like to see him in there.
I was just going to say to you, I've seen a lot of your fans are massively blowing up over Brennan Johnson. He is, by the way, Brennan Johnson is a player that when he played for Nottingham Forest, we struggled with him. I'm a little bit scared of Brennan Johnson. I know he isn't clicking for you, but if he's to click for any game, and I hate to say this because I want to win this game, by the way, Everton fans, Brennan Johnson likes playing against Everton. He scored against us for Nottingham Forest, and he does like playing against us. What's your thoughts on Brennan Johnson? Because you are all against him a little bit, ain't you?
Yeah, I don't know why. No, I'm not. But they certainly are. You're spot on with that. I don't know why, because we're talking about a player that was signed at the end of the last transfer window. And, goals and assists combined last season, 15. That's not bad for, 22-year-old who, hasn't reached their full potential yet. And it took him a while to break into that first team. So really, I worked it out the other day. He's played about 2/3 of a season. And to come away with 15 GA isn't bad at all, if you ask me. Isn't bad. Yeah, that's one of the best in the team. That's up there with Son. So I think that's quite impressive. To put it into context for people, he got more assists than any other Arsenal player. Not a single Arsenal player got more assists than Brennan Johnson last season. He got more than Foden, Alexander-Arnold, Neto. This is, big players that we're talking about. So he had a really good season. However, I look at him and go, I think probably an impact off the bench. I don't think he's the finished article. And for him, it's consistency. But I do like him. I think fans have to have a scapegoat. That's what it is. Højbjerg's left. There has to be a scapegoat. Dyer's left, previously. There's no scapegoat to have. I think you have to have a scapegoat. And right now, it is Brennan Johnson, who I don't know why. I know he's got the finished article. I think a lot of it, mate, is that because of the money we paid for Brennan Johnson. But I look at it and go, that's not his control. Anger it at the board for the recruitment and the way we do it. Because we went in and paid, and Forest went, we overpaid. We got that probably wrong, and we probably even went for the wrong player at Forest. Could have gone for Morgan Gibbs-White. But he's our player. Back him while he wears the shirt. But fans with Alderweireld as well are judging him before he's wearing the shirt. I'm like, hang on a minute. Let's judge him after at least a season. So fans always have to have a scapegoat. That's what it is. I think he's doing really well.
Yeah, the Blues comments is there saying, is there any players that I'm not? I know I said I'm worried about Brennan Johnson. Yes, but true. There's not many players that Spurs have got that I ain't worried about. They are a good outfit. They are a good team. With Brennan Johnson, I think he did play a lot better for Nottingham Forest. And I think when he went to a bigger team, you'd expect him to get more chances, which he's had. And he hasn't taken those chances. It's got to be a confidence thing. And sometimes your fans
absolutely
jump on players. We've done it with our players. Sometimes your fans can just make a player feel uncomfortable straight away, and there's so much pressure on Brendan Johnson when he come in with the price tag and to get more chances, and it's just not kicking for him. But he's better than that. I've seen him for Nottingham Forest smash goals in when he's had 1-2 chances a game. So to be getting probably 4, 5, 6 chances for you and fumbling them and not doing what he normally does, something must be going wrong, and it's something your manager needs to look at, because I'd have him at Everton any day. Brennan Johnson, cracking player. I know a few Everton fans said when he's not doing it at yours, they put up saying, would you have him? Because your fans were massively turning against him. But I don't think that you'll let him go.
I'm annoyed with the fan
I think
base.
you'll keep him.
But just looking here, right, he only played 32 games, right? And if we're being honest with you, I'm going to take a rough estimate here in terms of starts. He started probably about 23, 24 of them. And to come away with 10 assists and 5 goals, I don't think is bad for a winger. I don't think that's bad, to be honest with you. It's better than Werner done in his kind of stint from January. It's arguably, up there, if not better than Son's. It's better than Richarlison. So I think I don't know why. I love Richarlison, but if the criticism is kind of towards him, who's struggling still to get in the team, I'd understand it a little bit more. As much as I love Richie, but I think it's aimed at a player who's not long come in, and it's his first season. I find it really odd. If we're talking about 4 assists, 2 goals, but I think fans are overreacting a little bit on one game. I think they based it off the Leicester game where Son also went missing.
I'm not gonna get you to put your fans on your back here, but do you think you're struggling with your players? Because Richarlison, it seems your fans are a bit with him and he hasn't settled in and he's not. I think Richarlison's more of a manager thing. Like, your manager doesn't fancy him more than a fan thing. But Richarlison, with how he performed for you last season, he's one of your best players. And he was scoring goals, scoring braces, and you think to yourself, what more could that man do? And he still
would you have him back?
Finds himself on the bench. Oh, with a
yeah.
Wouldn't even think about it. Of course I would, yeah. And a lot of Everton fans, with it looking like you are going to maybe get rid of him. Do you think you'll get rid of him?
Well, he's come out and said he wants to stay. I think we secretly did try to offload him to Saudi, which as much as I want to keep him, and I was very, very happy when we kept him. Saudi talks were 55, 60 million, even 65 million, which is more than what we paid, as you know, for him. So if we can make a profit on Richarlison, I love Richarlison, but I look around the Premier League and I think if a club was after Richarlison now, I don't think they'd pay that much for him. I think we're talking 25, 30 million at the moment, as good as he is. But I'm glad we kept him. I think we need healthy competition with Solanke. We can't go into a team wanting to be inside the top 4 and potentially really progress in domestic competitions. We all know it's been 2008 since Spurs have won a trophy. Europa League, if we give it 100%, why can't we progress, get to semi-final, final, that even maybe win it? You can't do that with just Dominic Solanke. So keeping Richarlison was key, and I'm very glad he done that. One thing you can say about Richarlison is he has the passion, he has the heart. He's just a really likable guy and a likable player. So again, someone who the fan base don't really unite behind, along with Werner, along with quite a few players that the fans just kind of distance a bit. Since Richarlison came out and spoke openly, which is really brave of him to do so, about his mental health, I think people have been more supportive of him. But I think that it's good that he stays. And no, I don't think he'll leave before the end of the window, because we're looking at a squad now that's 21, 22 players. So I don't think we can afford to offload anyone, because we've done really well. We've reduced it by about 10, 15 players.
No, do you think because Richarlison, we was so at Everton, he won so many Everton fans over, and Everton fans love Richarlison, and he had before he come to you, he was a proper Everton player. And do you think that you haven't got behind him because he still brought part of that with him, or do you think I don't know? Why do you feel that you haven't got behind certain players?
I think he's just generally unlucky
for a Tottenham fan to get behind him.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I do think he's an unlucky player. I think you get that sometimes, where he builds momentum, then he gets injured, or he builds momentum, then the manager changes. It just doesn't, when it seems to click for him. And there was a period where he scored in 3, 4, 5 games running, or it was something like he scored in 5 of his last 7. He then got an injury, didn't he, for 3 months? So it's whenever he finally gets somewhere, it's an injury or a setback. Whether it be on the pitch, mentally. So I think there's a player there. and I really like it. That's why I would really want to start him on the left. I think if you look at majority of Spurs fans' teams, well, I've been scrolling through X and I've seen, I don't know, 20, 30 teams today, and not one has had Richarlison in there. And I don't think that's just based off fitness. I think that's based on fans that are, I don't know, they look at Solanke and go, we don't need Richarlison. But that's not the way I look at it. I think Richarlison has the passion. We want to score against you. You know, he want to, as much as I still think, you know, he has a lot of Everton inside him. And, you know, I think we saw that really respectful kind of mutual relationship between him and the fans. I think that whenever you're playing like Maddison with Leicester, you clap the fans at that, but you want to do well against your old club. You want to prove a point. You've progressed even more, or you're thankful for your time, etc. So I would play him, if not certainly give him a lot of minutes. I think he could have a good season. He could have a good season, but I don't get why maybe I don't know why we loan signed Werner. I would have kept Son on the left. You've got Odegaard now as well, and Richarlison could play on that left-hand side. So I think we just I do think you're right about Ange maybe not wanting him that close to things. And I'm not sitting there saying he should start every game, but I do think he's got more capability, let's say, than football fans in general, even pundits give him credit for.
The Blues says there, Richie had similar goals per 90 as Salah last season. He gets goals, simple as that.
He's a threat.
And what you just said, like Richarlison, the Brazilians, they've got football in the blood. They've got football in the blood. So when Richarlison plays against us, even though he loves Everton, he's a footballer and he will want to score goals against us and he will want to have the best performance he can because that's what he does. He just plays football to the best he can and he plays a football game. And I think if you play him against us, he'll do his best to play his best game. And we've got to expect that. We've got to expect that. He'll go for us. And Richarlison is a big player that we've got to watch. I'd rather him be on the bench. To be fair, I think I would have preferred Solanke on and Richarlison not playing because Everton sometimes when we play our ex-players or anything like that, we know they can pop up on the score sheet. So Richarlison does scare me. Probably not a player that would have got in though because he was on the bench for you, wasn't he? I think it's because of the injury that Richarlison.
Yeah, he's only had half a dozen of training sessions. So if he plays, it'd only be I think an hour or so. On your
lineup that you did. I couldn't get them all on, but who you looking to hurt us with?
It's a good question. I don't know, to be honest with you. I think that we have the depth in those attacking positions, but you've got to look at a lot of it is not necessarily about us; it's about the opposition. And you just come off the back of conceding 3 goals to Brighton, and you're really struggling, in particular, to that fullback position, in particular that right hand side. So I think Son, I'm going to say because of his quality, but he's been off the boil recently. You just know when he's going to have a bad game. His touch isn't quite with it. He blazes it over the bar. So I think in the end, we do have to probably look to move Son in before we don't get anything for him. And we brought in a South Korean Yang in January, so that could be his replacement in terms of trying to keep the Korean fan base at Spurs. I think it's very important for the football club and the money it brings in. So it's just also off the pitch. So I think Son can cause you problems, but to be honest with you, I think it's more what we can do off the bench. Timo Werner, Brennan Johnson. See, a lot of people go, why are they not in your team, Harry? But I'm also thinking, I don't think about the starting 11. I think the bench. Who can have the biggest impact from the bench? And I look at Johnson, Werner with their pace as you tire, because no disrespect to people like Mason Holgate, Michael Keane, they're going to tire, because they haven't been used to first team football over the last few years, in particular Mason Holgate, at that high kind of level and be able to cope with fast pacey wingers. So if you bring Werner and Johnson on 75, 80 minutes, especially Holgate, let's say he does 95 minutes, it's going to be knackered come the end. You won't want Brendan Johnson running 100 miles per hour past him. So you've got to think, how can you impact a game? And that's something we've improved.
You make a good point. I wouldn't want Brennan Johnson running at us when Holgate's freaking 210% fit.
Exactly.
You do make a good point, and I try to tell the Everton fans this sometimes because it feels like sometimes your fans think that it's all about who's in the 11 and who's not in the 11. Just go away. It don't matter. They're shit. That's what some fans think. Like when you say who's going to play, Calvert-Lewin or Beto, or Calvert-Lewin, then it's like, oh, Beto nowhere near the squad. Sometimes you've got to remember that your subs, like you've just said, are as important as the 11 because you can rotate. I mean, Daesh doesn't rotate for us that much, so that's probably why our fans ain't so much on the subs. But your subs there that you've just said are very, very powerful. Right, so people in the comments, this is your moment. Write it up now. Get it in the comments so we can look at your Everton lineup. There wasn't no Spurs ones that come in. Otherwise, I would have chucked it on the screen. But we did get Harry's lineup. Everton fans, get your lineup in the comments. I'm going to give you my lineup. And I tell you something, I've ripped my hair out. I've gone grey. This hasn't been easy to do this lineup because it's just we've recently heard that Tarkowski, I don't think he's going to be available either. So Tarkowski is going to be out. And obviously the right back situation. So it's not ideal. So I'm going to give you my lineup now. Your lineup's out. People, this was not easy. I had to play around with a lot of players. It was hard work. I felt like I had to do 20-page essay of homework here. And this is what I've come up with. And I know I'm going to get stick in the comments. I know I'm going to get stick in the comments. But one thing I will say is I'm struggling. I am struggling. I've done everything I can here to keep Holgate out of the squad because Holgate is a liability. Against a good outfit like Spurs, if you play someone like Holgate, you're in trouble for me. There is a big chance that we could play 4 at the back and Holgate could play right back. I don't want that. I think he's someone that Spurs will target. And I think Son will. I watched Ellis Sims for Coventry, one of our old players, destroy Holgate. Son, I'll tell you something. I don't want to see it. I really don't. But this is my lineup. Tell me what you think in the comments. I'll have a word with Harry, see what he thinks. I just think the 3 at the back. And the reason I say this is because I think Harrison can help O'Brien. But I rate O'Brien as well. I don't know why he didn't start the first game. And I think McNeil can help Mikalenko in that position that I know a lot of people will slate me for putting Mikalenko there. But left centre-back, I think he could get stuck in. I think he could be hard to beat. Probably win all the headers. Fast, good on the ball. That's what I've come up with the defenders. I like the midfield. Tim Arobenham, he's been fantastic for us, Harry. He's just, I mean, we got rid of Onana and we brought this Tim guy in. And he's incredible. He has been our best player by a mile. He's good on the ball. He runs past players. When he passes it, he runs for it again. Garner Gay, he hasn't even been nowhere near as good as him, but Garner Gay gets in. I have put Decore on the right, but I do want Lindstrom there. I put Lindstrom on Decore's name because
I did wonder. Yeah, I could say there's someone like Decore. That's trying to work that one out for ages. So glad it's not just me.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. Like, I'd love Lindstrom there because when Lindstrom come on with Ndiaye against Roma second half, he looked really good. But Dyche is being a little bit of a shitbag, Harry, because he's saying that the new players haven't got Premier League experience. But if he doesn't give them Premier League experience, they're not going to get it.
See, Sean Dyche has got to be careful. I know that he's seen with Premier League experience. They got him success at Burnley and done well at times with that last season. But look at Ashley Young. That's where experience is relied on too much, and it comes a reliability. And Holgate has Premier League experience, but what does that mean? I think you have to trust the youth. And we look at whether it be Kobbie Mainoo, Lewis Smiley, I don't know who would be Garnacho. There's been so many youngsters in the Premier League that have been given an opportunity who, by Dyche's kind of words, if you like, don't have Premier League experience, have come onto the scene and really impressed. I think someone like James O'Brien, I really like. But on your team in general, I really, really like it. And it will be, I think it'd be a massive success against Spurs because the way we play with inverted fullbacks, we put them into midfield, closer to central midfield, just behind the wingers, sometimes in front. So what could happen if you play with overlapping centre-backs? I'm looking in particular down that left-hand side. You could cause us a massive problem with Porro being fit, but carrying a little bit of a knock, limping a lot against Leicester. Mikalenko could overlap McNeil. McNeil's really good with the delivery, and then Ndiaye could cause problems. Calvert-Lewin would be in the box and cause our defenders problem. We could easily get stretched, Spurs, this way, to the point where we have to scrap inverted fullbacks and maybe sit in deep at times, which is not an Ange Postecoglou way. So a back three played against an Ange system, as far as I can remember, doesn't go well from a Spurs point of view because it stops the inverted fullbacks. So I think that'd be a very good idea. It keeps Mason Holgate out of the team. And I still think that front line could cause us problems. I look at Harrison and McNeil. okay, yeah, maybe not necessarily world beaters, but they can cause problem with their deliveries. Calvert-Lewin's going to get that service at some point. So, and I do worry with us defensively. Attack doesn't necessarily scare me, but the Spurs defense actually does scare me. So I think that you could cause us problems. That, yeah. So I think it'd be a bit more defensive, but
that's the reason I put Decore in, because I think this is what we know Dyche is going to do. I do want he has put Lindstrom in the under-21s with better the other day, so that partly makes me think that he isn't going to put him in. But if you make it a diamond like that,
he likes his diamond, doesn't he?
It's not so bad, you know. If you do that, I rate that, and I think we can be okay. But you'll still get some Everton fans that massively come at me and say Harrison can't play wing back position, McNeil's crap that position, or Mikalenko can't play left centre back. But I like that. I really do. And I think you've got Ndiaye behind Calvert-Lewin, really good. Irobenham and Decore, you'd like to think the box to box, they could really get up on the edge of the box and be a threat. Yeah, I like that. I do. I like that lineup. I mean, I'm going to see what your lineups are in the comments and whether you think mine's crap. The comment it made me laugh then. Yes, Lindstrom has got a tan. I did explain that on the Blues. It is funny, but that's my lineup. What are you? What you? If I give you this, say if I had Holgate in the team, Harry, you probably come at me straight away, and you, as a Spurs fan, you'd think, right, let's get at Holgate. But now I'm thinking that's the reason I've done this lineup. I'm thinking I've made it a lot harder for you to hurt me here.
Yeah, definitely. That team looks a lot better.
It's compact. Yeah, I think that's compact, and I think it'll be harder for Spurs there. I think for saying we've got a lot of injuries, I mean, often they'll be there. That's a compact team.
A lot of people talk about McNeil and maybe doesn't have good delivery in the chat. But what I will say, if you look at him at his best at Burnley, he did. And if Sean Dyche can get the most out of him, that there's a player in McNeil. Okay, I don't think you can get that much. I don't think. I kind of think he's reached his ceiling will be a simple way of putting it. But I do think he could have a delivery on him. If Everton are clever, and you look at, they should copy what Leicester done in terms of sit back, but use Calvert-Lewin as a Vardy to cause the defender problems. Split our defence, and you just need someone to supply Calvert-Lewin. Ball over the top. Because, I do worry Van der Ven running back to goal. As quick as he is, he's getting his legs tangled. So I think that you could cause us problems. But I don't think this is going to be a one for the neutral. I think you'll sit in, we have a lot of the ball, probably do nothing with it, probably get the first goal, and you know what's going to happen. I think, to be honest with you, actually, I don't want to say this bit to give away the score prediction. But no, it should be interesting, but not interesting at the same time. Interesting in terms of we don't know what, both teams are going to put out. Spurs, we don't know who's going to come in for Bentancur. We just don't. We don't know what that forward line's going to look like. We know what defense is going to look like, but that forward line, who's going to replace Solanke for Everton? You haven't got many players available. So in terms of maybe it's easier to guess, but who does Dyche go with? Does he go with that experience? Does he go with a little bit of youth? I think you could probably guess. Be interesting to see though.
Well, I'm going to get the teams on, and then we'll finish with the score predictions. I mean, thanks for putting your teams in, people, and thanks for listening. It says 300 have logged in, and I don't know who stayed in, but 300 have come in from Twitter and from the YouTube channel. So my team for tomorrow's obviously not going to happen. Holgate will play. See, we're not happy. Straight away, if Holgate plays, it's going to knock us fans back a little bit here, because a lot of people want Dixon to play left back. He's a really good left back in the under-20 bonds, and he's been fantastic.
Right, okay.
We're all crying out for him to play right back. Sorry, he's a right back in the right back position that can come in right back instead of Holgate playing. And a lot of people want him to play. He played in the pre-season friendlies, and a lot of people do like him. But like you've just said, Harry, this could be a problem with Dyche for us, because he doesn't want to put the young blood in. So Dixon, Tarky, O'Brien, Miko, Garner, Tim, Harrison, and Dye McNeil. So he's just chucked Dixon in there. Would you chuck Dixon in, Harry? Really young lad. Some people are saying it's dangerous, suicide to do that.
No, I don't think he is. I know he's not available, but it'd be dangerous to put someone like Ashley Young in, who's you're going to end the game with 10 men. I think that's more risky to do than give the youth a chance. Big teams are giving youth a chance this season. It's always worked well, whether it be Adam Walter with Crystal Palace. I mentioned loads. Mainu is in particular, Lewis Miley. There's been a load that just broke into that team. Mainu's probably the one that really stands out for a lot of people. You need a balance, for me, as someone says in the comments there. You need that balance of youth and the experienced players. Experience guiding the youth pushing the experience. You need that balance, and I don't think Dyche is ever going to give you that. So I want to ask you a question, if you don't mind. What's the kind of aim for this season? Because you want to kind of be progressing as a club. I thought this season you could, but it doesn't give you much hope for your sake after the first game.
Well, for me, last season, I think without the points deductions, I think we could have finished mid-table. I really do think if you look at where we finished and the knockback that we had with the point deduction knocking our confidence, I do believe that we would have been mid-table. This season, I think stronger, but I'd still like to think we could finish mid-table and do better if Dyche utilises these new players properly. The first game, the reason for me that we got battered the first game is because Dyche is holding back with these new players that could make a massive difference. I mean, O'Brien, we've signed him, cracking centre-back, nothing wrong with him, and we're just crying out to just play him. And Dyche has said he's got to get some Premier League experience where he's not going to get that unless you play him Dyche. So use your brain a little bit. So we're on your question, we're all really frustrated with Dyche. At the moment Dyche just starts listening to us and doing the right things, I think we'll have a good season because I think our signings have been cracking. O'Brien to come in centre-back will be a good third choice when Branthwaite's back. I mean, Branthwaite back is going to be massive. So we'll have Branthwaite, Tarkowski and O'Brien. So Keane won't even be an option then. The right-back situation, if we sort that out with Trippier, it'd be fantastic. But to have Coleman back would be better, and Patterson. So,
but even with Trippier,
be all right.
It's a short-term answer, isn't it? You know, there's a player that's progressively getting worse and coming to the end of his career, and it just screams Sean Dyche signing. That experience, I think he has to change as a manager at some point, because I don't think you're going to go. I think he's done well with you, but is it now time to change if things don't go well this season? I think he's done really well to keep you up and position you in, cope with points deductions. I think last season very, very well, and I think I pushed a lot that he was underrated last season, and I do stand by that. But when you kind of move on, it kind of, for me, screams Palace with Roy Hodgson. It does
do you know what,
keeps you up. When are you going to move on?
I get what you're saying, but it isn't with us. Like Trippier, when I watched him, he was a big part of Newcastle being really good in defence. I know he had a little bit of a lapse towards the end, but I think that's because of what went on. There's a lot of stuff that I've heard that went on in the background with his partner, with this, that, and the other, and I think it unsettled him massively. And I think the Newcastle fans was against him a little bit in the end as well, because he made a couple of mistakes. But when you watch him for England, I think Trippier is a fantastic. He's miles better than Ashley Young. He's better against Coleman. I love Coleman, but he's better than Coleman, and he's better than Patterson. So for me, I know what you're saying. It looks like we're going backwards by if we did get Trippier, but if Trippier could come in this season, and then you've got to remember Coleman will be retiring. Ashley Young, I'd like to say we don't give him another year contract.
Like maybe a buy option, a bit like that.
Yeah, that's what it will be. I hope it will be on loan, just to pass us until we can actually sign a good right back. Do you know where I'm coming from?
Yeah, but what I will give Sean Dyche credit for is I don't think the recruitment's very, very good. And at Everton, whether it be managerial appointments at times, and that's good, this is completely excluding Sean Dyche, or players brought in where the money's kind of been spent, whether it be bringing in Ancelotti and like bringing in James Rodriguez, high wages for him, it's just not sustainable for Everton at that period. I just think the recruitment's been really poor, and I think he dealt with a lot of things thrown off him, in particular off the pitch issues last season, and coped really, really well. And Eddie Howe with Newcastle as well, I think he's done an exceptional job. And Thomas Frank with Brentford, but it's how far can you take a club? That's what I'm trying to look at. I think it'd be absolutely fine for this season. I think you'll be fine. But I'm just thinking, a year or two's time, where do you kind of go from here? And I think it's West Ham with Moyes' situation. I don't think the fans treated him very well in the end at all. But it's how do you make that leap, that progress as a club? Palace have been faced that with the window in terms of players that they've sold. I think that generally, I don't think it's been a fantastic window for my from outside point of view, if I'm honest with you. And I think Sean Dyche, he done it at Burnley as well with not much money spent, but he seems to always get the best out of players. But the problem is he's got to integrate this youth, because otherwise your youth academy falls behind, which we've had when we've had Mourinho and Conte.
For me, when we had these players last season and the other season, when we had players that just wasn't that good, you could kind of accept that Dyche is doing the best for the players and getting some good out of players that maybe aren't so good. But then when you start signing a skillful player like Iliman and Ndiaye, then we need to start keeping the ball, passing the ball, and we need to change the tactics. And that's when you think, can Dyche do that? Can Dyche actually start making us play football? But these new players have come in now, and we can't continuously play Dyche's style. So there's big questions on Dyche. Dyche has got to change. He's got to adapt. I'd like to say that he can. Sometimes I think it's just stubbornness. I think Dyche can get us passing the ball. I don't think he's just got long ball in him. I think he has got that, but he's just stubborn for me. He is stubborn. The Blues, I did see in the comments, we've got the same team. That's a miracle because me and the Blues never agree with each other. Right, people. Well, here we go. Here we go. I mean, we've spoken. Harry loves his football anyway, so he hasn't gone that harsh at me anyway. But we're going to go head to head now. And we want your score predictions. We've had the lineups, roughly what we can do. Score predictions. The way we do it is we want your score and we want your goal scorers because we're that pathetic. We like to see who's going to score in this game. And Harry, I'm going to chuck it on you first because I haven't even thought about mine yet. So I'm going to chuck it on you. I want your score and I want your goal scorers.
I've been positive all week. Yeah, no, I've been positive all week, but I'm sitting here now and I'm still frustrated about Spurs on Monday. I think this game could have a draw written all over it. I just think it does, and I can't shift that from my head. Both teams lost their first game. Both of us go into tough games. I know Spurs in particular, we go to Newcastle away, then we host Arsenal next. That's our next 2 games. I know that you've got some really hard games the next 4 or 5 as well. So it does have draw written all over it for me, and I just can't shift that. I'm going to go 1-1, and that pains me to say, and that'll be deeply disappointed for Spurs. You should have gone into that Newcastle game with 6 points. To go in with it with 1 point, we lose that Newcastle game, then North London derby, that's going to be a horrible place to be.
1-1. Who's your goal scorers, Harry?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, goal scorers. Kyle Whitlow, for you, I think you'll take the lead. Surprisingly, in terms of we often take the lead and then throw it away. I think the opposite with this. I think Odebear will come off the bench. I think it'll be a bit of a heartbreak for you because I think it'll be late, 86th, 87th minute. I think we're pinch a point. I don't think we'll be happy with it, but I think we'll prevent the win for you. Anyway,
that is how we score, people. From what you've said, whoever loses this is going to be like go on a meltdown. Like from what you've done first game to let Leicester come back like that, and if you let Everton beat you, who got battered by.
We're not getting really anything from St James's Park. I could just see how it goes.
Your fans will be fuming. Your fans will be fuming if we ended up beating you. And for us as well, battered by Brighton, Spurs, we know we can get beat by them. It's not as much of a meltdown for us because we know the outfit that you are.
I think fans will be angry at the draw. To be honest with you, because that first 2 games, I think we thought would be 6 points, considering Leicester, new manager. Not much time to gel and so many players out. We played the first 2 teams we played, including yourself and Leicester, are 2 depleted squads through injuries. So it should have been 6 points for Spurs, and it's not going to be either way.
Your fans should be fuming if you draw against us because I'm not being funny. The players that you've got now, Maddison, Basuma, you've got no excuses now.
I love Andrew. You can see him. You can see I can see the end of the road, and I get called a lot for it. But I can't help but see myself draw this game, get nothing from Newcastle and Arsenal. Then you go to Brentford at home, and then West Ham. I could just see it. I could just see it. I hope it's not the case, but it doesn't look good from a first game. I don't want to overreact over one game. And it will be different if we win this game. A lot of changes in football. But if it's one of those, if you don't win this game, you just there's pressure on you to go to
he's
get
bluffing
something.
me. He's bluffing me, Harry. Is what he's doing is he's trying to make out that it's a really hard game, and then you'll see him on his channel like, yeah, I knew we was gonna win, and he's trying to do that. Oh, I don't think we're gonna get nothing, but deep inside, he's wanting to spank Everton 6-0. I can feel it. Yes. Not being fooled by it. Right, my score prediction, people, and I'll put yours on the screen and we'll finish the show. Let's do this. And we fight with all of our mate for the boys in the royal blue jersey. Copites and gobshites, every single one of them. Right, I'm up for it now. I'm ready for the head-to-head clash. We ain't got a good team there, but I did manage to pull out something out the bag. 2-1 to us. 2-1. I'm going to go 2-1. And
that'd be disastrous.
I was gonna say 1-0 because I know we're going to try and just defend and nick 1 goal, but I just can't see you not scoring. And if I can't see you not scoring and I see Everton winning, which I always do because I'm Rocky, right? I've got to give us 2-1. I've got to give us 2-1. So 2-1. The goal scorers, I want Ndiaye to score because he's got skills he has. And I did put a video out of him scoring against Tottenham before the other day. He has scored against Tottenham before.
To be fair, that's not hard to do. I wouldn't use that to judge a player. We give players a lot of space.
It's for Everton. Michael Keane has scored against Tottenham as
yeah,
well.
exactly. Yeah. And when he scored, he hadn't scored at any time before, had he? So he had been a huge gap.
What a goal that was, Michael Keane.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give Ndiaye a goal. I'm not giving Michael Keane one.
I'll probably give Mason Holgate and Jordan Pickford a goal, to be honest.
No, Holgate, if Holgate scores, he probably would just because I don't like him. I'm going to go for Calvert-Lewin that you said, and Ndiaye, and for you, I think Maddison. Maddison's a shitbag, isn't he? Maddison's a good player. I like Maddison. I rate him quite a lot. He's a good player, Maddison is.
Yeah, he's good, but it's a big season for him because he wasn't consistent last season after coming back from an injury. So I think there's some eyes on him.
Cost him as well because I do think that he should have probably been in the England squad, and it cost him. And I think it's probably going to be the kick up the arse that he needs for you. But
he needed that. He's got too arrogant for me.
For his ego. I've got blue tinted glasses, but I'll go 2-1 Everton. O'Brien, Lindstrom. Oh, O'Brien's a good goal scorer as well. I'd love that. Richarlison for Spurs. Just getting your scores on before we end the show. Cheers, everyone, for putting your comments on the screen. We couldn't do it without you. If you can hit that like and subscribe, we do appreciate it. Us channels couldn't do it if you wasn't watching it. So get behind us, please, and push us about. Same with Harry on his channel as well. Get behind him. Everything Everton has gone for Pickford, Mikalenko, O'Brien, Welsh, Dixon, Harry. Said, bloody hell, he's put some proper under 21s there. Tim, Gardner, Mills, and Ndiaye. He loves the academy. Everything Everton does. He loves the academy players and stuff like that. Let's have a look, see what else we've got. Eugene has said Tottenham 1, Everton 4.
Oh dear.
Yes.
Andrew, we going even quicker than
you're
I thought.
Getting it. Oh, you're getting it. Not going to lie, Dan. I can't see us getting this is Paul. Do you know what? Paul's normally positive with me, and he's just being real, and I get it. Trust me, I get it. I'm massively. If we was to win 2-1, as I say, everything's got to go for us. I can't see us getting anything. Spurs are a really good team. That's not the players that they've got. It's going to be a big game for us. 2-0 Spurs. Son, Richie, unfortunately. See, we've got a variety of stuff here coming in. Just trying to get them all on the screen before we end the show.
To be honest with you, I don't think
the Blues
you will win the game. Wow.
Don't do that to me, Blues, mate. I didn't like that. I took that personal. I didn't like that. 5-0. It best not be. If it's 5-0, I'm going to have to buy a new freaking TV and laptop, I tell you. Glad I'm not doing a live watch on this one. 1-1, Richie and DCL. But yeah, there's loads putting their comments in, which makes us know that there's quite a few listening. We do like that. So I'm 2-1. You're 1-1. What was you going to say to end the show?
Just thank you very much for having me. And I think that it will be interesting to see the outcome. I just think it does have a draw written all over it. And I think some of the chat in particular, as Spurs fans have picked up on that. It just would be Tottenham to draw this game when we need to. And I don't like to build pressure on the start of the season, but all of a sudden we don't want to get to September, October, and you're looking over your shoulder, or in a case of Spurs, you'll just be looking really high up, and there's just all of a sudden a big gap appears. You've got to keep ourselves in that top 4 race. So we do have to beat you. I don't think it's really, to be honest, without any disrespect, any way that you, unless a disaster strikes Spurs, that you win this. But I think you can definitely get a point, because I just don't think at this moment, without Solanke, we aren't clinical enough. We won't put the game away. We'll allow you back into it. No.
We're winning. I'm not having that draw, but I like that you tried to put that on me.
I'll see your confidence when Mason Holgate starts.
This is the head to... If Mason Holgate starts, mate, I'm going to frigging run on the pitch and take him.
You know he will, though. He will.
No, he will. Yeah, he probably will. But stop doing this to me, Harry. I know it's a head-to-head clash, but you don't need to clash with me with Holgate.
They're going to sign Holgate up on a 5-year
Say anything
contract.
about me, diss my haircut, diss whatever, but don't be putting Mason Holgate on me, Harry, because it hurts, mate. I don't like Holgate. I don't want him to play, and I hope he doesn't play. Right. Yeah, I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed having you on. I'll speak to you again when we play you next time. We do get an opposition fan on. We try to get as many on as we can. I hope we've made it a good listen for. I can't wait for the game. When you do get an opposition fan on, it gets you up for the game because obviously you are Spurs and I'm Everton. And I am ready. Thanks everyone for listening. Make sure you hit the like and the subscribe. We've just recently hit 1,000 subscribers, but we want to push to the 2,000 now. We want to do loads of good stuff on top. I mean, Harry does on his. The stuff that Harry does is fantastic, honestly. And I've already started to get a few charities going on and stuff like that on this channel because I think us fan channels, we just want to like put around positive energy. And if we can get a good following, this is why we say to people like and subscribe, because if we can get a big following, the stuff that we will do with that, you'll love. Because, for example, if we've got a big following and someone says to us, I'm doing this for charity and stuff like that, can we come on your channel? They come on a channel. We've got a big following. They all get behind that person. And that's what it's about. Do you know what I mean? That's what we do. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Harry, do you know what? Harry was getting competitive with me at the end there. Do you know what I mean? He was like saying to me, you're only getting a draw. You're not getting a win. What a game it's going to be, everyone. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Dropping the banner now. Up the Toffees. Let's do this. Spurs.
Up the Spurs.
Big game. Up the Toffees. Up the Toffees. Come on. And we fight with all of our might.